My husband left me for my mom, and then came crawling back when he found out she didn't get the inheritance and I did. Hi. Right now, I'm in deep shot because of my crazy mom and my equally dumb ex-fiancé who joined forces to completely destroy my peace of mind out of sheer greed. I would gladly talk to my friends about this, but it's way too personal and humiliating to share with anyone from real life. And trust me, once you hear what I've been through, you'll understand why I say that. I hardly have any family left, so there's really no one to talk to. That's why I'm here, to vent, and also to prove to myself that I'm not some villain like they're trying to make me out to be. It all started just 2 weeks ago, completely out of nowhere, when my husband of 3 years told me he wanted to break up, because he had developed feelings for my mom. Let's call this Jerk Kevin. Yes, you heard that right, and no, this is not a joke. Believe me, I was just as shocked as you are. Maybe even more disgusted when he dropped that bomb on me. He said they'd been having an affair for the past 3 months. I hadn't noticed anything because I was busy with work, and he was acting totally normal. Nothing suspicious at all. For context, my mom is only 20 years older than me. I'm 27, she's 47. She had me while still in college. My dad ditched her the day she told him she was pregnant. But really, she just needed a reason to drop out of school, so she decided to keep the baby and told her mom, my grandmother, that she wanted to be a single mom. My grandparents were wealthy enough to support her, even though they were against her decision to quit college. They tried to convince her to go back after I was born, but she refused. My mom bounced around a bunch of jobs before finally landing on interior decorating. And no, she's not an actual interior designer. She just tells rich people where to put furniture and what decorations to buy. Total nonsense for rich folks, but she's pretty good at it. She's not qualified, has no degree, but my grandpa was a famous realtor and sent clients her way. My mom is the most unreliable person I know, and she's insanely lucky she was born into a rich family. Otherwise, she'd have been homeless a long time ago. My grandparents practically raised me because my mom never had time for me. Not because she was working, but because she was always out partying. As a kid, I seriously thought my grandparents were my real parents, and that my mom was just an older sister or something. That's how I spent my childhood. By the time I became a teenager, I had no expectations from my mom. She was still as careless as ever. Grandpa passed away when I was in 7th grade, and from then on, it was just me and Grandma against the world, including my mom, who was usually the hardest person to deal with. If you've ever had to explain to your mom, while you were a 15-year-old student, why she shouldn't fly to Iceland with some dude she met on Tinder 2 days ago, then you know what my teen years were like. She's a complete idiot and doesn't care at all how her actions affect others, even her own family. Grandma always warned me that after her death I'd be on my own because there'd be no help from Mom. So I worked my butt off and made something of myself. Now I'm the COO of a company and make double what Kevin makes. He's a head of sales at a small firm. But I never rubbed it in or made him feel bad, partly because I went to one of the top business schools in the state and interned at the company I now work for, thanks to my grandma's connections. She taught me to stay humble, unlike Kevin and my mom, who thought they were stars despite not achieving anything. Kevin and I met at a mutual friend's birthday about 5 years ago and hit it off instantly. We had a lot in common. We dated for 2 years, and when he proposed, I didn't hesitate to say yes. He seemed like a good guy, or so I thought. He used to joke that my mom was hot, which, okay, maybe isn't completely false. I'd never call her hot myself because she's a lunatic and, well, she's my mom. But she does look decent for her age. She spent a fortune on feng shui decor scams and blew all that money on Botox and beauty treatments, so yeah, she looks all right. I don't want to disrespect real interior designers with proper education. Maybe real feng shui works. But what my mom does is pure con artistry. She has no idea what she's doing. I respect people who are good at their jobs. My mom isn't one of them. Plus, she's a terrible person, so I have every right to call her out. I thought Kevin would be different from all my exes, that I could trust him. But nope. He used to joke that my mom was so hot she could pass for my sister. I laughed it off because I thought, who the hell would actually do something like that? I only kept in touch with my mom for Grandma's sake. Grandma raised me into who I am, and I'll always be grateful, even if it meant dealing with her insane daughter. Grandma could never give up on my mom because she was kind and loved her, flaws and all. But no matter how hard I tried, my mom never loved me more than she loved herself. Even after Grandma passed away nearly a year ago, I still tried to stay in touch. Our relationship was trash, but I kept caring for her, mostly out of duty to Grandma. That all changed 2 weeks ago when Kevin told me about their affair. He sat me down after I got back from a work trip and, with a straight face, said he was in love with my mother and they wanted to be together. At first, I thought he was joking and laughed, but he didn't laugh back. Then he went into detail about how they'd been sleeping together for 3 months behind my back. Apparently, we had a small fight, and around that time, my mom messaged him asking how to fix her headphones. That's how they started talking. It snowballed from there. According to him, they never meant for it to go this far, but couldn't help it. I'm sure Kevin didn't mind that my mom and I look very much alike. I kicked him out immediately. He didn't fight it, because he knew he could just run to Mommy Dearest. I finished an entire bottle of wine that night, crying my eyes out until morning. Around 4:30 a.m., drowning in pain and rage, I drunkenly texted my mom. I told her she'd been a crap daughter to Grandma and an even worse mother to me, that she was a scammer and once her Botox wore off, Kevin would see her for the witch she really is and leave her too. I didn't expect her to reply, but she did, and that message opened my eyes. She said that maybe someday she'd lose her looks, but she'd never lose the bank account, which was about to grow tenfold thanks to Grandma's will. I had completely forgotten about the inheritance during my grief. The lawyer had said we'd find out the will's content only after the waiting period, 6 to 9 months, had passed. That time had now come. Grandma had instructed her lawyer not to reveal who gets what until everything was finalized. All we knew was where she wanted to be buried, so neither of us had any clue what we'd inherit, though my mom was convinced she'd get more. She even bragged like she already knew, as if the lawyer had told her in advance. I ignored her message and tried to forget about it. The next day, I met with my lawyer and filed for divorce. A week later, the paperwork was ready. Now all I had to do was wait for it to finalize, so Kevin could go live out his days with his ex-wife's mother. But then a miracle happened. One I'll be forever grateful to Grandma for. Even in death, she was still protecting me. I had asked the estate lawyer to tell us our inheritance separately. I couldn't bear sitting in the same room as Kevin and my mom. 5 days ago, the lawyer informed me that my mom had already learned what she got, and now it was my turn. I went in with zero expectations and came out feeling like the happiest person on earth. I inherited everything, all of Grandma's money, assets, and property. My mom? She got a diamond ring and matching earrings Grandma used to wear. That's it. Turns out Grandma left it all to me because she spent her whole life taking care of my mom. And now that my mom is almost 50, she's old enough to take care of herself. So ironically, the same woman who always warned me I'd be alone after her death actually made sure I'd be financially secure and never dependent on anyone else. Meanwhile, the woman who relied on Grandma her whole life got nothing. My mom was left truly alone. That was karma at its best, and I've never felt so happy. My mom found out just an hour before me. I had no idea what she'd do next, but I knew Kevin would reach out. Sure enough, he did. Didn't even wait a day. Said he made a huge mistake, wanted to come back, realized how good he had it with me, blah, blah, blah. I literally laughed out loud reading his pathetic message. They clearly had no idea I already knew my mom got nothing. I thought long and hard about what to reply, and just sent him a clown emoji and blocked him. I was 100% sure he hadn't told my mom yet. So just to make sure, I screenshotted his message and sent it to her, with 3 clown emojis. Then I turned off my phone. I wanted no part of the circus that would follow. Instead, I turned on Netflix and had a peaceful evening, finally free of both Kevin and my mother. The next morning, I found out what happened. My mom's neighbor's daughter, who I'm friends with, told me everything. My mom still lives in the house I grew up in, which my grandpa left to Grandma and her. So when Grandma died, my mom stayed. That night around 10 p.m., the neighbor's daughter heard shouting from my mom's house. No one went to check. Everyone hated my mom until the screaming got really loud. Turns out my insane mom literally threw Kevin out of the house. He was lying on the sidewalk as she hurled anything she could grab at him, screaming the nastiest insults. One object hit, a heavy hardcover book, and gave him a gash on the forehead. He had to get 5 stitches. It was disturbing to hear about. He even filed a police report. My mom got a massive fine but no jail time, partly because she was not in her right mind, partly because she had a great lawyer, and partly because she's friends with the DA's wife. As soon as she got home, she blamed everything on me, started spamming me from her second phone number, which I hadn't blocked. I tried to ignore it, but deep down, I keep wondering, was it my fault? What Kevin and my mom did to me is unforgivable. But maybe I should have just been happy with what I had, instead of trying to make them suffer. What I did came from anger and pain. I'm not proud of it. If I had known it would blow up this badly, I would have never sent that screenshot. I just wanted them to feel awful. I never imagined someone could actually get hurt. My mom had never physically attacked anyone before, as far as I know. I couldn't have predicted this. I hate how it turned out. Her constant attempts to play the victim and paint me as the villain only make it worse. Even Kevin's now posting vague quotes about betrayal and heartbreak, which is hilariously ironic. But the point is, I feel like they're blaming me for everything. I honestly regret getting involved just because my mom bragged about stealing my man with money she never even got. Update 1, guys. Thank you so much for the incredible support in the comments. Thank you for all the kind words, and especially to those who wrote about my grandmother. Yes, she was special, and I truly believe I was incredibly lucky to have her in my life. I'm honestly one of the luckiest people in the world to have had such a great woman as my grandma during my childhood. It somehow makes up for the fact that I have the kind of mother I do. Now I no longer feel guilty about what happened because, honestly, I didn't do anything terribly wrong. They destroyed my marriage. I destroyed their relationship. An eye for an eye. It was my mother who lost it and attacked the man she supposedly loves. So, no, I'm not going to feel sorry for her. She's the crazy one here, not me. And she definitely won't make me feel like the villain because everything that happened is fully her fault. Kevin got hurt, yes. I do feel a little sorry for him because violence is never okay. But at the same time, he's the guy who literally cheated on his wife with her own mother. That's disgusting. I don't understand how anyone could think that after something like that. He still has the right to ask me to take him back. I'm sorry he got hurt, but it's not my fault. Not my fault, and not my problem. So I decided to block them all everywhere I possibly could. I've seriously started thinking about filing for a restraining order because my mom has really lost it. Who knows what's going on in her head or what she might do next. If she's mad at me for destroying her love, she might very well come after me next. I don't want that. But I also don't want to give up everything I've worked for over the years and move just because my mother is a psycho monster. So a restraining order is probably the best way to protect myself from her. I just hope it doesn't have to come to that. Update 2. Looks like I will have to file for a restraining order after all. I completely ignored my mom for almost 2 weeks and was finally starting to move on. Kevin accepted the divorce filing and didn't contest it. Things were starting to calm down a bit. With the help of therapy, I was planning to finally let go of this disgusting situation. But unfortunately, my mom decided to stir things up again. Yesterday, I saw her standing on my front lawn, right by the front door. I had just gotten home after a long day at work. I told her to get off my property or I'd call the police right from my car. She didn't even flinch. Instead, she said I could do whatever I wanted, but she wasn't leaving until she talked to me about the inheritance. I told her to say whatever she had to say from a distance, because I was honestly curious what she was going to come up with. Then, she outright said she wants half of everything I inherited because it's fair, since Grandma was her mother. I just laughed in her face and told her she's the last person who gets to talk about fairness. Then I told her to get lost because I wasn't giving her anything, and I dialed 911 in case she tried to do something crazy. She gave me a hateful look and walked to her car. I immediately closed the windows, just in time, because as soon as she got close, she kicked the passenger door and left a dent. I noticed the dent only after I got out of the car. I waited until she had driven far enough away. I took photos of everything in case I need proof, and I already have security cam footage from the house clearly showing her doing it. Then I called my lawyer, told them everything that happened, and said, I definitely want to file a restraining order against my mother. So now that's in progress too. I tried filing a police report, but since she's friends with the district attorney's wife, the police chief said his hands were tied. Well, whatever. At least I have the footage, and you can't fake that. Her face and her actions are crystal clear. I even downloaded the video and saved it to a secure note so it won't get lost. The next few days will be hell. All this court running around. But at least I'm finally going to get rid of these. People.update 3. Hey everyone. Things have been crazy lately with the divorce and all this legal mess. Right now, we're in the middle of negotiating settlement terms, and it's insanely frustrating. But last week, I finally managed to get a restraining order against my mom, so at least that's dealt with. Phew. Kevin and his lawyer are spewing a bunch of lies, so I'm now gathering all the possible evidence of his affair for the next hearing. Hope it'll finally be over after that. All of this is exhausting, but I'm regularly seeing a therapist to help me manage the rage and keep it from ruining my day-to-day life. If I've learned anything from this whole nightmare, it's that I absolutely do not want to end up like my crazy mother. Well, that's it for now. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this story in the comments. Thanks for watching this video to the end. Check out our previous ones too. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and good luck to you.